says, Mr. Speaker, the Conservative leader is phony all the way through.
Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David, and today we've got Chrystia Freeland with some more personal attacks on Pierre Poilievre. We've got another Fergus scandal. Things heating up again with the Liberals. They can't seem to do anything right. First off, we got a clip here in the House of Commons.
Learned the terrible news that inflation is 35% above target. Again, after 8 years, this Prime Minister is not worth the cost of debt interest. And they can't do basic math over there. The 0.7 is actually a third higher than the 2% target. They're patting themselves on the back when they realize that Canadians can't afford to eat, heat, and house themselves. So why don't they, instead of quadrupling the carbon tax on the backs of Canadians, why don't they follow our common sense plan to suspend all gas and diesel tax until Labor Day?
Mr. Speaker, the Conservative leader has quite proudly and publicly called for the Governor of the Bank of Canada to be fired. But maybe it's the Conservative leader who should lose his job, because he just revealed his astonishing ignorance of the Bank of Canada's inflation target. The Bank of Canada has a target of between 1% and 3%, and for 4 months in a row, inflation in Canada has been within that target.
Not only does the incompetent finance minister not know the inflation target, she doesn't know that you lock in low rates when you have the chance. Remember, the Prime Minister was saying, don't worry, we can double the national debt because interest rates are low. Yep. Glenn, problem is, I told him at the time that they should lock in those rates for 10 years or 30 years with long-term bonds. It turns out they didn't do that, and now $400 billion of that debt will roll over into these higher rates, forcing Canadians to spend more on interest than on health care. Why did he hire the worst mortgage broker in the world to be our finance minister?
Yeah, so obviously he's referring to Chrystia Freeland, and it's a lot like a mortgage. It's if you lock in at those government bonds at a longer rate, and get, when the rates were good, we would be better for Canadians. Instead, they didn't do that, and now the Canadians will be servicing the debt at a much higher interest rate. The debt servicing cost is going to go through the roof because we've got these idiots running our country.
Mr. Speaker, it's clear that the Conservative leader is in a grouchy mood today. And I think we all know why. The only thing he knows how to do is talk down Canada. And what he just cannot bear is the reality that thanks to our fiscally responsible economic plan, inflation is at a 3-year low.
That's right.
Inflation has been within the Bank of Canada for 4 months in a row. That's good news for Canada and Canadians.
That's right.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Think that you pay down debt by borrowing more, that you stop inflation by printing money, and that you fight the drug overdose crisis by legalizing hard drugs. So at least they're consistent in their irrationality, Mr. Speaker. But now they've been forced to backtrack right before the election on their legalization of hard drugs because Canadians are revolting against the policy. Today we have a motion that will be voted in the House to permanently ban hard drugs. Will this government vote for that motion, or will they admit that they plan to legalize drugs again after the next election?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservative leader is wearing more makeup than I am today. Now, I think it's wonderful.
I think she's calling him a clown. What is she trying to say here? She's basically calling Pierre a clown. And just let's go back a second here. You can see her having a snicker about it.
I think it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Look at this. She's just having a good time. She thinks that's nice and funny. You know who doesn't think that's funny? Over on X here, we got Stacy who wrote this. This effing infuriates me. I lost my son to opioids in 2020. Poilievre speaks about a motion to be voted on today regarding the overdose crisis. Freeland's answer, the Conservative leader is wearing more makeup than I am today. Now, I think that's wonderful. Disgraceful. Yeah, this affects real Canadians. These Liberals don't care about people. Self-righteous, just pompous pieces of garbage.
I'm going to ask colleagues.
Throw her out. For that language, throw her out.
Order. Order.
Throw her out. What are you doing?
I'm going to ask the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, to withdraw that comment. We don't comment on the appearances of members. The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and the
So Fergus here admitting it is a personal attack. Throw her out.
Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry, I withdraw that comment.
Can continue with her. She has 25 seconds left on the clock.
You're not done what you're saying there. Fergus not throwing her out. Fergus is horribly partisan. He is a biased speaker and he should not be up there. And let's just get into this right now. So Fergus caught with his pants down. Greg Fergus was caught sending this out, which was an invitation to a Liberal event. You can see here. This is an invitation sent out for the Greg Fergus event. If he remains in the Speaker's chair, the Conservatives should boycott the House of Commons till he's gone. Enough is enough with these dirty Liberals. And if we zoom in on this, it's hard to read this, but basically, while Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives propose reckless policies that risk our health, safety, and pocketbooks, our Liberal team is focused on making life more affordable for Canadians, blah, 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 blah. This is partisan. This is not unbiased. The guy's not fit for the job as speaker. He isn't. This is his third time he's done this now. So how's he going to get out of this one? Well, the Liberals probably had a strategy session and figured, oh, we'll just send out a tweet. That'll be enough. Look at this. Please see the following letter. That's like the most cold tweet I've ever seen. Dear Mr. Fergus, I'm writing to you today about an event that was posted on our Liberal website for your riding, which had language that was partisan in nature. The language was posted on the event page of liberal.ca and was auto-populated standard language. Auto-populated standard language, just remember that, we use for our events on our website, and was posted without your knowledge and a result of miscommunication between the party and the riding association. This language has been corrected. The Liberal Party of Canada unequivocally apologizes to you for this mistake, and we take full responsibility. Nobody believes this crap. You're trying to tell me that auto-populated standard language for Liberal events talks about Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives with reckless policies that would risk our health, safety, and pocketbook? Like, really, this is just dog crap. Stop lying to people. Today, Justin Trudeau was asked about Greg Fergus and his partisan behavior.
The Speaker, Greg Fergus, has come under political attack again today from the Conservatives. They say a partisan message appeared on his website. Your party has now apologized for that, said it was a mistake. So I'm wondering, does this episode in any way shake your faith in Mr. Fergus as Speaker? And do you think it makes it harder for him to do his job?
No, it doesn't shake my faith at all. I have full confidence in Greg Fergus as Speaker of the House of Commons, as a thoughtful, independent-minded leader. The issue was dealt with, was addressed by the party and by the House Leader. It was an unfortunate mistake. What
a load of dog crap. These thieves all just covering for each other. It's just embarrassing.
The fact is, Mr. Speaker, the Conservative leader is phony all the way through. He is phony when it comes to his concern about the economy. All he can do is talk our country down. And he is phony when he talks about his concern about the opioids crisis. He tries to score cheap partisan points. It's just not right, Mr. Speaker.
That's right.
Something's going on here. It's very weird. She's acting overconfident. I don't know if she has dug up some dirt that she thinks that'll help take down Pierre Poilievre, or like that's the kind of confidence I'm getting from her here, or is this a new strategy where they're just gonna fling a whole bunch of mud or whatever Trudeau always says, they're gonna just unleash attacks on him, and that's their new strategy versus the whole fairness for all Canadians garbage that they keep in pushing that is not actually getting them any points in the polls. So I don't know what their strategy is here, but something has changed with her and she's acting very weird. So they go into French here, but let's just jump ahead a little bit.
The Honourable Member from Regina Capel.
That's the Liberal message, that Canadians have never had it so good. The carbon tax is failing, except at driving up the cost of everything. Actually, the government is succeeding very, very well at driving up the cost of groceries, home heating, and of course, fuel. The carbon tax is sending millions of Canadians to the food bank for the first time, and it's pushing the cost of simple things like driving to your favorite family vacation spot out of the reach of hardworking Canadians. While the Prime Minister gets to stick Canadian taxpayers with the bill for his exotic vacations, Canadians are struggling just to scrape enough to take their family on a trip. Why won't they adopt our plan and take the tax off of fuel for the summer?
How nice would that be to have 31 cents a litre removed off of the gas right now?
The Honourable Minister for Natural Resources and Energy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would encourage my honourable friend to actually read the work that was done by 300 economists across this country, which says unequivocally that 8 out of 10 Canadian families get more money back in the rebate than they actually pay in the price.
Are they still pushing this dog crap? Really?
On pollution. That is addressing affordability, and in fact, Premier Smith herself said she got more money back for her family than she paid. If he really is concerned about affordability, though, I would encourage him to go to talk to his friend Premier Smith, who just increased the gas price by 13 cents, and did so with no rebate and no accounting for affordability.
Yeah, let's break that down a little bit here, Wilkinson. So basically what Danielle Smith does in Alberta is when the price of gas is very high, they take off the cost to give a tax break for Canadians. And when the price is really low, they put it back on. It basically levels out the price. There's still a bit of difference, but it makes it a little more constant. People know what gas prices are always going to be. It gives a break when Canadians need it, but it also still brings in some revenue to pay for roads and etc. So the government doesn't go broke. I think it's a smart system, and they should be doing this federally. Instead, Wilkinson just uses this as a cheap political attack and doesn't put it into context.
After 9 years, Canadians can't afford the costly coalition's carbon tax, but this Prime Minister doesn't care. He'll quadruple it, even though 70% of Canadians and 7 out of 10 premiers told him to spike the hike. Now, Conservatives' common sense plan is to axe all federal taxes on gas until Labor Day to save Canadians 35 cents a litre. That's more than $955 of needed savings.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives' lack of common sense approach to these things is about axing the facts. Every reasonable observer, 300 economists across this country, the Parliamentary Budget Officer, are very clear. 8 out of 10 Canadian families get more money back, and it's those that live on modest...
Ugh, please, just endless. There's like 3 lies he just spewed in a row there.
Responsible plan to address affordability and to fight climate change.
It doesn't fight climate change. It doesn't do anything. One thing to note about road trips, I will be doing a road trip back to my homeland there where I grew up in Alberta. So I'm thinking maybe of doing a meetup if people are interested in that. I don't know if anyone's interested in meeting me in person, but maybe I can just show up somewhere and, or maybe go do a hike with some of you up in Calgary there, or maybe Mount Yamutska or whatever that one's called. Yeah, let me know down below if you guys are interested. Basically thinking about the second week of August.
The Honourable Member from Lakeland.
Well, after 9 years, it's clear that everyone but these out-of-touch elite NDP Liberals knows the carbon tax isn't worth the cost. Page 4 of last year's Budget Officer report says, quote, maybe you should listen, taking into consideration fiscal and economic impacts, most households will see a net loss. The NDP Liberals' inflationary tax and spend agenda makes everything more expensive and hurts vulnerable Canadians. The most common sense Conservatives will axe the tax for all for good, but since fuel prices have surged over 50% under him, will the PM at least axe the tax off Canadian summer road trips?
She can speak well. She doesn't miss a word there.
Mr. Speaker, it is very clear 300 economists across this country agree.
Well, we've had enough of that. You just barf in the same garbage.
For the Prime Minister to lend a helping hand to Canadians and take the tax off their summer road trips.
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, I'm curious if the honourable members actually approach Conservative premiers across Canada who maintain their own taxes on fuel. Mr. Speaker, in particular, in the province of Alberta, Danielle Smith has increased the price of fuel by 13 cents and offers no rebate. We're in search of solutions, not fights. I wish they'd at least come armed with facts.
Armed with facts. This guy is such a loser. Here we are on the Alberta website because Sean Fraser doesn't know what's going on. Right here, fuel tax relief program. So basically they look at it January 1st, April 1st, July 1st, and October 1st. Based on the average price of a barrel of West Texas Intermediate, aka oil, the fuel tax will be suspended whenever prices go above $90. A partial tax of 4.5 cents per liter will be applied whenever prices are $85 to $89.99. A partial tax of 9 cents will be applied when it's $80 to $85. The fuel tax will be fully reinstated when prices fall below $80. Fuel tax rates cannot increase more than 9 cents per liter per quarter when oil prices fall. This is a math formula they have. This isn't based on emotion. It isn't throwing money at the sky gods and hoping to change the weather. This is actually a program they have in place that's very transparent and very predictable.
After 9 years, we know the Prime Minister will jet off to surf in Tofino this summer at taxpayers' expenses while Nova Scotians can't afford a summer road trip.
That's right.
Will the Prime Minister do a surfing cutback to help Canadians by taking the tax off the summer road trip?
The Honourable.
Let me know in the comments down below if you guys want me to go out to Tofino. It's only an hour from my place here, and see if I can find Trudeau on the beach. He's going to be on Long Beach or Chesterman. It'll be a couple, one of those ones. It should be pretty easy to find with all the security detail. And public beach, I could go out there and just start heckling him while he's surfing.
I know the Conservatives are excited. They think they found a new bumper sticker to put, but what would they say to that family? Not only are they taking away their carbon rebate, they also would be taking away childcare. They'd be taking away their dental care. They'd be taking away their diabetes medication.
This guy be taking away people's lives, Captain Made here. Jeez, man. Like, get a hold of yourself. Minister of Death just needs to just button it up.
So what they say in exchange for taking all of those things away from vulnerable people is to say that a false, empty promise. And that's what we have on the other side. Empty rhetoric and really attacking vulnerable people at a time when they most need help. Mr. Speaker, we will continue to stand with those who need help.
Jumping out of the House of Commons session there, let's take a look here. The CPI for April, the Consumer Price Index. This is basically just the cost of goods. One thing to note here, since we're talking about gas prices and gas tax and road trips, here's the price of gas we've got here over the CPI. You'll notice here is April 2023 and here's April 2024. This is a full year, so they went down. Yeah, October-ish, was this October, November, December? Yeah, and then they go back up once it comes summer, except the price has just gone way up, way too fast. We already have higher than normal prices already, and it's just probably going to get worse and worse as summer goes along here, which is what we see here. This is August, where the prices are always the worst. Yet we're already well past that, 4.6 versus 7.9 here in April. So buckle up. What we've got here is the year-over-year rent increase. Here's Canada, the average. Prince Edward Island has seen the least increase. Who's seen the most? Alberta, because it's the most affordable place to live. The housing is cheaper. There's jobs. There's lower taxes. There's no PST. There's just a lot of benefits. People are selling their $1, $2 million, $3 million places in Toronto or Vancouver and moving to Alberta. So that is why you're seeing these huge spikes. Often when people move to, they don't necessarily buy another place. They might rent to get a feel for a neighborhood before they buy another place. This might not just be renters from another province. With that said, we've got Alberta breaking records for housing starts. So well done, Danielle Smith. So what we can see here is new data from the CMHC, the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, shows total housing starts for Alberta have reached 13,560 to date from January to April 2024, setting a new record for the most homes built under construction during this time in Alberta's history. At this rate, Alberta is now on pace for roughly 40,000 new housing starts, and construction season hasn't even started. In comparison, the province saw 27,324 and all these other numbers for these previous years. So 40,000 is more than 27,000, 24, 31, 36, 36, etc. So breaking records there, building more houses, but the problem is we need to stop the immigration. It's too much. It has to go back to zero until our country stabilizes. This is happening while Canada as a whole has seen nearly 10% decrease in new housing starts over the same period, with PM promising an unprecedented housing boom he's demonstrably incapable of delivering. Yeah, that's very much it. I did the math before. It was like thousands of houses need to be built every single day to reach his 3.8 million target or whatever. It's stupid. It's not going to happen. This unprecedented growth shows the province is leading the country in having the fewest roadblocks and fastest permit approval times to enable housing construction and increase the supply of homes. Well done, Alberta and Danielle Smith. You guys are doing it right. Jumping over to my group now, let's see what kind of memes we can find here today. Trudy Tone Paint. No election until my pension. Yep, I believe that's February 2025. So I find myself not guilty. A chair fit for the PM. Leaked picture, last night's Liberal support rally with special guest. I think these diapers need to be dirty, if I'm honest. Too much poopy pants on the Liberal side. Support me, support rent increases. David Eby, NDP. Yeah, no thanks. That's coming soon, October 2024 here, people in BC. Got to get this guy out of power. Taxing people into poverty will not change the weather. No, it will not. Apparently it takes 2 straws for Trudeau to suck Canada dry. That one's clever. That's good. That's where we're going to end this episode. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about the first Greg Fergus, just another partisan corrupt situation. Also, Chrystia Freeland. Something's funny is going on there. I don't know if it's a new strategy where they just want to do attacks. They just want to sling mud and insult Pierre, personal attacks. Or do they have some sort of dirt that they're waiting to use? She had an abundance of confidence there, and it just seemed very out of place because normally it's the squiggly, like always awkward and weird Chrystia Freeland. So I don't know. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Thanks for watching the end of the video here. I greatly appreciate all of you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. There's a bunch of you who are not, who watch the videos but are not subscribed. So might as well ring the notification bell to get notified all of my videos here. I'll keep bringing you guys the truth. We'll keep fighting for freedom. I'll see you guys in the next one.